Good evening. Welcome to WooTube. My name is Baran Woo. Um, and today we're going to be playing some Thunderbolt. But first, we should talk about Southwest Regionals. Um, Axu, yes, EA Sports did win. Um, Not really up to me. It's all on Jonald, that one. Jonald really needed to beat the three EA players in the top four, and he just couldn't do it. So, take it up with him. But yeah, good. A very good run of form for the team of entirely average sports. Um, Exceeding their name in this circumstance. So yeah, I think he did read as Mari this time, actually. Yeah. Yes, apparently. Well, I'd say everyone read their cards, but uh, it was tough being a TO. It turns out that not everyone reads their cards all the time. Okay. So story time. This was like the first tournament of this size I've ever run. I've run some small sort of COs and GNKs. I think the biggest before being like 16 people. This was obviously 50 people. I've never run an event with a top cut before. So it was a big old learning experience. And most importantly, I have never had to give out a game loss before. Um, Giving out game losses is genuinely one of the hardest things I've had to do in my netrunner career, if you like. This was like a new one for me. Unfortunately, it wasn't just one. There were several times when people had got themselves into board states which we couldn't rewind. We couldn't find a way to resolve it, and I had to give a game loss. And each and every one of them felt worse than the last. It's really rough. Yeah, that was a real learning moment for me. So when you're like, I have even more respect for judges, especially at large events, especially at uh, high stakes events. Yeah, like shout out to all the judges. But this was the final standings from Saturday, the Southwest Regionals. Um, we had 50 players. It We whittled it down to a top eight. We did a top eight single elimination because mainly because of time restraints, apart from anything else. And Ollie, who casually wandered in to basically hang out with some people that he hadn't seen for a while, ended up taking the top space after sleeving up his decks for the first time, I think the day before. Um, but yes, congratulations, and congratulations for Entirely Average Sports, who really did get a lot of it. There was three members of them in the top cut, plus on the bubble, Kikai, who we can talk about now, because Kikai has done a write up, as he's been doing for pretty much um, pretty much every tournament. It's fantastic. It's even more interesting for me now, like looking back on it, because I kind of saw it all come together. So um, we've got his usual like nice like breakdowns of the ID splits and things like that. We see that HB was definitely the most played of the corps, but turns out not the correct choice for the day. We'll get into that. Runner's really interesting. What it's really interesting is Anarchs on as the least found. Like, remember when we were all dooming about like Hashiko being unstoppable? And I still think like obviously Hashiko is very good. Where like why has Shaper just got that much better that it's taken all the Anarch players, and now we've all been playing Anarch for so long because it's been the only good thing that people are bored, so they're playing Criminal and basically just slotting the good Anarch cards? Not well, yeah, because that's like this 17 criminal 17. I can be pretty sure like half of this number is Steve, and pretty much all of those Steve are playing Bankar Steve. Um, so yeah, and we can see that a bit further down. In fact, if we skip down here, we can see the runner IDs. Um, so yeah, six out of a criminal, six Steve, and Steve was the crim to play. And I believe every single one of these six Steve is like Bankar Steve, with an influence spend of two Bankar, free Steel Skin, and free Strike Fund. Um, I know that most of the EA Sports lot were on it, as well as some of the process, like or I don't know if John No is part of the process or not. I kind of lump him in with them for some reason, but I'm pretty sure Jono was on Steve. No, he was on Hashiko. In which case, I have no idea anymore. Um, I'll stop talking about that. But another interesting thing is that everyone's also talking about the fact that World Tree Arasana is the strongest runner deck. Everyone seems to be under this impression, yet still no one's playing it. There were 4 Arasanas. Of those 4 Arasanas, 3 of them were World Tree Arasanas, and 2 of them were like big deck World Tree Arasanas, and the other one was Kami's Arasana, World Tree Arasana, which is like a 45 card Arasana, which I actually find fascinating and have been tinkering about with myself. Okay, Jono is processed. Cool. I'm not mistaken that. What the process did have, I noticed, out the corner of my eye, was a caldera, and that is whoops, I don't. Well, that's fine, and that is because we saw a certain number of Asmari, 5 Asmari, of which out of those 5 Asmari, if we look down at the cut, 3 of them made the top cut. So Asmari was definitely the thing to be, to play, or seems to be. It was the most consistent of all the IDs in terms of making the top cut. And they were trying to kill you, and kind of, I don't know, maybe unsurprisingly, if you look at this top cut, there are 8 decks in here. And the Asmari is playing Punitive and Neurospike. The RH is playing Punitive. The Outfit is playing Punitive. The BTL is playing End of the Line, like it's like Andre's built to blast deck. So it's like End of the Line, Public Trail kill combo. The PE is trying to kill you through being PE, and there is one fair deck, or not fair deck, but one deck that wants to score points in this entire sodding top cut, and that is the Ob deck, which John was playing, which is a version of various decks that Tuno has put out, and Jonald has been tweaking and playing pretty much solidly. I mean, we all know he's an Ob fanatic. So yeah, everyone else. I mean, I guess like RH does want to score points. It does it in as unfair a way as it possibly can. But yeah, everyone wants to kill you right now. So maybe you need to start packing some tech against that. I don't know. Maybe you just need like a ton of money. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. That is Corp, and I guess this also is because no HB, like the HBs are generally trying to score points in a nice honest way. I quite like how even the runner top cut is. It's like a nice little triplicate. Like smarter players have said, scoring is cringe. Yes, that is a direct quote of the king, Brandon, who fully believes it. And it might be true. Yeah, the runner top cut here, it's like really nicely even. We've got like as much as you can split 8 people into thirds. That's what we've ended up with in terms of crim. Crim, Anarch, and Shaper. And it's kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure everyone's kind of going on about this like strong runner meta, and there's no good corpse to play, etc., etc. But corpse seem to be ahead on the day, and I don't. I'm sure the numbers are probably down here. Um, so I mean, we've got like some strong win rates here on the corp side. So MBN across the board won 75% of their games. Jinteki won 66% of their games. With some decks doing phenomenally well. RH proving very strong on the day. And HB being the lowest performing still made like 50% of their games, right? Is it time to slot Caldera? Well, Jono and maybe Chris Dyer were on Caldera. Jono definitely was. It's only one inf. If you're on like Gachapon, you can find it with Gachapon. You could tutor it with a tree. It might be like Caldera does stop the Neurospike combo, not the Neurospike combo, but the other version of it. Sorry, the Gypstad combo. You just need 3 credits. The hilarious thing is that on the day I saw Jono die to the Gypstad combo with a Caldera installed because he ran into everyone's favorite ice. I'm gonna open it up. He ran into a Klevetnik, and their opponent rezzed it, gave him 2 credits, and then he couldn't use the and blanked the Caldera. So this card, which has been the laughing stock of the MBN Ice Suite for a while, is suddenly like kind of pulling its weight. It does seem to be exactly correct in that one deck. Very, very funny. Okay, sorry for the like flashbang there. Other than that, so I think we've got what people were playing. I think down the bottom here, actually. Oh, we got faction win rates. So yeah, so you can see that it was very corp favored on the day. Like I think in the top cut, everyone who got to choose which side they were playing chose corp, and I think they all won. The new joke Isis capacitor, absolutely true. Yeah, that one has not found its place yet. And then we've got kind of a rundown, so I can pretty much remember what most of these are. So Ollie was on Kill Asmari and like the crew Hashiko, which we've kind of seen fly here and there and never quite win a tournament. Oh, I guess it won. It won the tournament, the online. It was either an AMT or maybe like one of Santa and Charlie's tournaments. It won the one against Alpi's like Mirrormorph prison deck. Then Not Yeti was on Punitive RH and Steve. Ashbo was on Kill BTL, and again, both of these are Bankar Steve. Jonald on like Scoring Ob and Arasana. Chris Dyer on Kill Asmari and their Lat deck. I don't remember what their Lat deck was. I think it was basically boring Lat. It was like, soccer's boring Lat, I think. I might have to double check that. Hey Tiff, Ollie chose runner into Jonald, I believe. No, Ollie wasn't playing Jonald. Who was Ollie playing? Because Jonald won the first game. Jonald was against Hemra. Hemra. Ollie was playing into I can't pronounce her name. I'm really sorry, Lucasia. But yeah, I guess if this was the like ice killing Hashiko into outfit, that's probably going to feel good. And I guess Essa's got to be a tricky one for that Asmari because you might just lose out of nowhere. Hemra played this PE deck, which did not lose a game on the day, and I walked past and saw some super cursed looking board states. I don't think they've published it yet. I know it had Bring Them Home in it and false leads. And every time I walked past, the runner seemed to be on like a ton of points and then died. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Definitely seemed very mean. Jono on the same as Nehemiah, and then Lucasia on like punitive out. I think basically very similar to Lady Killer style outfit, and Essa. Yeah, it was a really good day. We had a great time. A great time was had, and yes. Quick note in terms of that. So you might be aware by now that Nottingham has sold out. I think it's sold out like right after the day after my last stream or something like that, because I told everyone that tickets were nearly sold out, and then like literally they were. With that in mind, the South East Regionals, which is on the 24th, so about a month away, has 7 tickets left. Yeah. So if you want to come to the Southeast Regionals in Aldershot, there are 7 tickets left, and I know that they have a hard cap at like 40 tickets. So no chance that they could sell any more than that. Okay. So what I want to play today is one of the things which I had my eye on, because every time I walked past their table, I would look at their board state, and they'd have the most cursed board state in the world, and it was Ace Empress's Thunderbolt deck. They were playing really cool combos. They were playing Thunderbolt and Akiko. They were playing like a version of the girls' Akiko, which has like Pretty Mary and Iru. I don't know if it still has Beatrice or not. But yeah. And then Thunderbolt, and Ace Empress has been jamming Thunderbolt since it came out. They have done this awesome write-up. And I really like their reasons for playing it. And one of them is that no one else is. And so, like, of course, there's like lots of changes and lots of iterations to be doing, because they're working off a pretty blank slate here. It's not like you can go, oh, well, this Thunderbolt deck did well, I can tweak that, maybe I can use ideas from this one. It's like, no, there's no good Thunderbolt decks out there. And they make a point that might be because lots of people are shitting on this idea without ever having played it. I am worryingly kind of one of those people. I had like kind of big ideas for Thunderbolt when it came out, mainly because I really like Stavka. But then I've played a couple of games with it, never felt it do enough, and kind of written it off. So I need to stop that, because that leads to like lazy deck building, and try something out. And I'm going to go to the person who has been doing the most with it. Yes, Axu, I know for a fact that you are in that group as well. But I am going to put enough money on you bringing Thunderbolt and like top cutting a tournament with Thunderbolt on a bet that I'll force you to try it at some point. So let's have a look at this deck. It's got a lot of agendas. It's got 2 Stegodons. Ace Empress does mention that they think Stegodon is fun. I know some people would disagree, but I can see how in Thunderbolt specifically, Stegodon probably is a lot of fun. How much? I'll think on it and I'll let you know. Um, because being able to like res and de-res your ice, which gets better when you re-res it, seems pretty good. Plus, I saw this deck Killer Runner when they basically took about 4 core damage in a turn, running through multiple bloops, which just kept being rezzed everywhere, which was kind of funny, in a kind of good way, you know? So, it's got a couple of Stegodons. It's not like a Stegodon deck, but that it clearly has that. Also, scoring, like, I kind of do this. Agenda Suite does make sense with the Stegodons because you're scoring 1 Stegodon and then 3 of these agendas. That's your plan. So we are scoring 4 to win, which is maybe a lot. But, you know, we can do it. And then really, you know, like we got a load of good PD stuff, a load of good purple stuff, right? Like Seamless Launch, Tranquility Home Grid, that'll make sense. We've got 3 copies of Ganked, which does seem very, very rude, especially with some like big nasty ice, which is going to go on centrals. This protects R&D a little bit in a kind of offensive as opposed to a defensive way. Same with HQ. Like we can just, if these are in hand or in R&D, then our big nasty ice is bigger and nastier. They might have to hit it twice. And then we've got just some of the meanest ice in the format. Barriers, 3 Hargans, makes sense. It's the only destroyer. It's not the only AP, but I think it's the only destroyer barrier. Certainly in faction. Code gates. We have 1 gatekeeper, which makes sense because it's kind of a good thing to de-res and it's just a good piece of ice. 1 magnet, which makes sense because it's kind of a good thing to de-res and it's just a reasonable piece of ice. And 3 copies of wave, which makes sense here because we have bloops and we just want to find the big pieces of ice which we want, right? Although, interestingly, wave kind of is bad when you're playing Architect Deployment Test. It depends. It depends on what you pull, I guess. We're like pulling bloops with it, basically. We've got 1 of these, which I'm gonna leave in. It's questionable whether this should stay in. I have found this to be a problem, especially in decks which aren't running Vovo, but maybe it's good enough. It does get a 4th sub whenever you re-res it, and we're going to re-res it a lot because it's going to de-res itself a lot. So I guess that's 4 subs if we choose all the things, and that's quite good. But maybe you just break it for 2 with a Cleaver or a Bustle. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave the deck as it is to start with, at least. We got 3 copies of blue, which is very rude. We've got 1 Cloud Eater, which is hugely rude. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to do with the tags. I know a previous version of this deck did have Greasing the Palms, which might have been actually a pretty good thing to do with the tags. A copy of Tithe, which is potentially Thunderbolt's best ice, and a Tear. All pretty nasty, all pretty big. Let's not run into any ice destruction, and we'll be alright. Thanos, but it's really a 2nd sub. Not if we choose them all, right? But then if we choose, like, I mean, we'd only ever choose them all. We'd choose them all if we thought they were gonna like put a whatchamacallit. If they only had things which you had to pay per subroutine. So like if they were breaking it with, for example, a Lobosome, you'd just choose all the subs, right? Because then they have to pay for. Or if they were going to use an Entangler to... I'm just checking whether this would still have subs. Yeah, it would, because it gets them on res. So if you're going to use an Entangler, then you choose all of the subs, so that they have to pay the most. And that's it. We're going to try this out. We're going to see how it feels. Um, it's got like a way to close out a game with a biotic. It's got one copy of Brasilia Grid, which is like a mean thing that we can put on a central, um, and potentially do some stuff. Hey, Freedan. Um, having played against an earlier version, it's the bloops that get you. Yeah, I think that's what I saw. Like, firstly, we can afford to res these. That's a really important part of the whole process. Um, because there's these other huge ones. They're going to be tricky to res. Like, we really need these to hit and hit hard if we do res them. Um, but the bloops only 3 credits to res. Obviously, we need a different harmonic res, but that's fine. That's what we got the waves for. Oh, I see what you're saying, Thanos. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I've seen a single Serachian blade played yet ever. It just hasn't seen. It has not seen any play. I thought this card was better than it was when it was first released, and then after reading it over 3 or 4 times and thinking about the actual properties of how you break this and what it does if you don't break it, it's not very good. It's really not very good. Um, unless they accidentally put a hush on it. If you can like force a runner to accidentally hush it, then well, then you're having a good time. Okay. Uh, right. I have this loaded in, so we can do this, we can do this. And we are a core. Uh, it does, it kind of does tax Echelon for 3 credits. Yes, that is true. And it taxes like Carmen for 3 credits, which is, it kind of is a reasonable tax. And it's kind of always going to do something, right? You're always trashing, like the fact that it's got trasher resource means that it's actually quite good in the early game, but we have not seen that to be the case. Okay, we could rush behind a Lycean multi-munition. That's probably quite bad to do. So let's mulligan. Okay, this we might actually rush the Stegodon behind the Lycean multi-munition. If we could draw a seamless, that'd be even better. Do we rush it behind a gatekeeper? This is lat. If they put down an SMC, we won't know. I think we're going to just rush out the Stego. Behind a gatekeeper seems fine, especially if we're potentially going to be scoring this Stegodon. Oh, any minute now. Come on, JNet, you were being pretty good earlier today. I'd like you to remain being good. Install this card, please. Yes. We got there. We got there. Maybe we should try it. Maybe next week we'll like build Sorakian Blade deck. Sorry, Sorakian Blade dot deck. Oh, we're gonna get away with this uncontested. Ooh, that feels good. Okay, 2 stone ships. That's fine. We're not a kill deck. Starting to flood up a wee bit here. with any luck, we like jam one of these Vitruvii and they face check the gatekeeper. Or even better, we draw a Rashida and they face check the gatekeeper. We should also protect R&D at some point before we just get trick shotted. Ooh, okay. Hey, there's a really good resource to trash with a Sorakian blade. That would be good. Do we have any way of trashing that here? What does this do? Trash one installed program. Oh, nuts. Okay, so we're gonna get deep dived. We don't really have any way of dealing with that. Uh, so I think, unfortunately, I can't really do much with the bloop right now. I'd love to give a latter core damage. That would be fantastic. Oh, Freedan played a single copy of Sorakian Blade once and never will again. Okay, that's not boding well for for potential of next week. Did you play it in faction or out of faction? I like can't imagine splashing it for free credits out, free influence out of faction. Oh, they are on Julie as well. Okay, they have their revolver, which is probably what they want. They're running here. We're gonna res this gatekeeper. Feels quite good. Gonna give him a tag. They're gonna have like 10 gajillion clicks every single turn now, though. They're on Julie as well. We'll draw some. Do we want to score a second Stegodon? We don't. I don't really want them in R&D though, but we're gonna shuffle these two back in. We need to get this Tranquid in here because that is like gonna be almost all of our money. But one good thing is if they're trying to deep dive us, that means they're gonna run lots of different centrals, specifically all free, which is good for the fact that we have a Stegodon. Do we want to de-res this gatekeeper? We gain one. No. As much as I kind of do. But then they just run it again, right? Oh no. I've realised that we scored out a Stegodon and now we have... Oh, I kind of wanted to keep that. And now we have an additional thing to click every single time we make a run. I think it was an early Amani sports build. Swapped out for a rotor turret. Yeah, rotor turret makes a lot more sense when you're just like want to jam behind something. Oh, we've drawn back into the agenda. That's not great. Bloop is also not great. So they can now get through this gatekeeper. I'm gonna draw. Okay, that's not great for this turn because we've got a sodding agenda in there. There are spin doctors, right? I didn't check. I am assuming there are spin doctors. I kind of just this is bad. How many harmonics in the deck? There are exactly 3 copies of the Code Gate one and 3 bloops. So unless we draw a copy of the Code Gate one, oh, that's not good for us. Oh. Oh. Are you not running it? Oh, you are running it. Fine. I mean, we potentially should have just scored this out. Now we're going to lose our Tranquid as well. Open stream. I know we scored a second on. Thanks, Donald. Why no res Trank? It wouldn't have done anything. I just installed the Trank on top of the Vitruvius. Maybe I might be embracing my villain era. I'm just curious um about Thunderbolt more than anything. Okay, we have a tithe which costs. They actually have to boost into the tithe. That's very funny if they want to break it. I think I'm going to jam the Rashida. I would have loved to have this Trent Grid in there. Still, it's not, but that's fine. We'll put this here. We'll put this here. We'll probably take a credit. Um, we can still res this Lycian multi-munition. So that's good. Yeah, well, I'm not going to say it's rough yet. We're going to see if we get off this Rashida, and then we'll decide whether it's rough or not. They are trick-shotting us. Obviously they are. I think we have to res this Lycian. Then we decide whether we want to give it all of the subs or not. If I give it a sentry sub, then they'll have to use revolver counters. Do I want to de-res this? It's so hard to work out. I think I want to use up their thinking. It's kind of hard. Whenever a run begins. So I think I'm not going to de-res here. I think I am going to I might as well then de-res the Lycian multi-munition with the Stegodon. It's not very good. Each run, as long as whenever a run begins, you may de-res one piece of ice. Use this ability once per turn. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to res this. We're going to give it Sentry and Barrier, because then they have to break it. Or they have to at least break some of it. Done. Otherwise, they can just bounce. I think you might want to be playing for a long game, so D-res might be good. Make Lycian hit harder, possibly. The thing is, I'm kind of thinking like now when they run here, which I'm sure they will. Yeah, you see that cost them 4 power counters, and 2 credits, which is not nothing. Seems okay. They might have actually spent 1 too many power counters. Okay, they didn't rip an agenda, so that's good. And now we'll de-res, choose a piece. We will de-res this, because it's going to de-res itself anyway. We'll res a tithe. They have to boost. Oh, no, they only have to boost once. That's a shame. But they do have to boost the Unity to deal with a 0 strength gatekeeper, which is very funny. Are they going to give us a credit here? We get a credit! Yay! Hopefully they can move. Yeah. So unfortunately, I guess like, well, they're on Unity, so even like de-res in the Gatekeeper is not that great. Because Unity boosts pretty hard. Although now they can't run R&D until they have a way of resetting this revolver. So there's a way of resetting the revolver. Ignore me. I was like, maybe we've got something here. We don't have something here. Okay. I would love to be able to play that hedge fund. Do we think I can? I would rather jam this and then take another credit. I guess they just run this. They just run this. Maybe that's very bad. I think I probably should have put them a virus in there. There's no reason for them not to just run it. Okay, they've burnt through their first copy of Julie. It gained them 4 clicks. Seems right. Yeah, they just run it. Do we get to fire? Unfortunately, it obviously doesn't get Thunderbolt here. We need to be able to derez it. Okay, we are bleeding out. I think that should have been jam from a virus. Definitely should have been jam from a virus. I am trying to score behind a Tithe and a Gatekeeper. Let's ignore that fact. Okay, we have a Magnet, which is not great. Let's draw. That's only good if we ever get a Seamless. We'll do this and we're going to have to just keep sticking stuff in this server. It clearly looks like we do not care about sticking stuff in the server, or we're trying to do that every turn. So we're just going to keep doing that. Here comes the Swift, because they need some more clicks. Now, if they go DJ Sable here, then that is just the click greediest. Yeah, I don't think that's necessary right now. You will not need this many clicks. Oh, yes, please. I will derez the Gatekeeper. Sure, I'll purge virus counters. I guess now I might need to... Ooh, can we score that? We could maybe score it behind the Hagen, right? Do I need to get rid of his Tithe? It seems quite bad right now. So maybe we go like... Tithe can go in the bin. We'll put the Hagen there. We'll put the Architect deployment test in here. We don't have any resed ice to derez to do the Stegodon thing. Otherwise, we can make this Gatekeeper really big. And we can't. They have found their precious spike. Oh, but we get to score this! Right, find us something juicy. Ooh, I would have kind of rather scored that, I reckon, but let's see what we find here. Okay, there's a Luminal, 2 down, that's terrifying. We see 2 spins and a Hagen. So, we either res the Hagen somewhere. It's probably pretty bad to break right now. I guess if we... Oh, they can always just bounce and come back, right? Tithe seems like a nice derez target. Yep, I probably should have kept it for that exact reason. Okay, if we put Hagen res on R&D, is it any good to us at all? We could put the wave. That then means that there's a Luminal on the top of the deck. which is terrifying. But then we have a rezzed wave, which means that we can res a bloop, which might be something. I wish we had a bloop here. Um, hmm. Yeah, I probably should have kept the tithe. It would have made sense. Or we res a spin so that we can draw into other stuff. um, like I think it might be the wave. It might be the wave. I'm just like we're gonna lose, but if they trick shot us, then we're gonna lose anyway, right? So it's gonna be the wave, and then next turn we can draw, install a spin in the server, maybe drag them through the server. We're gonna put this on R&D. Okay, we're now threatening bloops. Unfortunately, they're on revolver, which is going to break bloop for 4 credits. Oh, you're going here. Okay. Well, we're about to lose a luminal, and I think we're about to get deep dived. Do we res this? I think we kind of have to. Yeah, it doesn't feel great. Just going to de-res itself. This is not good ice. This is not good ice at all, and they're just going to break it for overclock credits. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave it, and they're going to steal a luminal, and that's going to feel bad. Yeah, they cut Ace Empress cut the Vovo. And we lost. We scored our Stegodon. Uh, Ace Empress, I have to cut the Lycian. Okay, I'm really sorry. I have to immediately cut it. It's felt awful. Oh, hey CTZ. Well, we lost to CTZ as well, so like, you know, what are you gonna do about it? Okay, I did say I was gonna play this without making any changes. I immediately have to cut the Lycian because that felt quite bad. Um, so what are we putting in place of this ice? Is there any other harmonics that are worth it? Probably not. The one that loses a click is not particularly good if we're not on Ikawa. Um, I kind of want to play like a thimble rig, in a deck like this. Um, or we just play like another gatekeeper. Like gatekeeper would have felt a second gatekeeper would have felt okay here. Yeah, I've immediately backpedaled on that one. Um, let's go just one extra gatekeeper. I hope Lyceum becomes amazing sometime in the future. Yeah, maybe. Like at some point, it felt especially bad there. Second tithe is correct. Uh, I think I'm going with second tithe. Like it needs to be cheap, whatever it is. Okay, So the question is, what did we do wrong there? And was it that we scored out a Stegodon early? It's an awkward card, but yeah, that's what I get the fact that it probably is occasionally amazing, and it really fits with Thunderbolt. Sorry, that's like moved a bit. It really fits with Thunderbolt in terms of the fact that you're always like rezzing it. Well, this seems appropriate. We have Thunderbolt versus Akiko. A very appropriate matchup. Okay, we could again rush out a Stegodon, but this time we would be trying to do it behind a Cloud Eater. That's going to feel bad. If we had any other piece of ice, then we might go ahead and do that. I mean, these are the two best agendas to start with, right? Surely. And we have a hedge fund in hand. What's the chance that we draw into any other piece of ice? I'm going to keep it, assuming that we're going to draw into any other piece of ice. Literally any other piece of ice. You can do it, JNet. You can't do it, JNet. Okay, so we'll draw. That's kind of perfect, but now we can't res it and score. So we're going to just hedge fund, and we're going to put the Cloud Eater on R&D like it's a big, scary something. Even though we have literally no way of resing this in a million years. But if we ever do res this, oh, it's going to feel good. Okay, they've got Coalescence down, which makes our Hagen a little bit meaner. We've just drawn our other massive, scary piece of ice. I think we try to push... I think we might actually try to push the Luminal first, because we haven't got good D-res targets at the moment. So we're just going to go this, take a credit. This is probably Akiko Ladies. Yeah, probably, but I mean that's like the thing to do if you're doing Akiko right now. Why I said it was a very appropriate deck is that Ace Empress was playing the girls Akiko themselves. So this is like the perfect matchup. We see a Muse, possibly with an SMC on it, so that they can challenge this remote. Unfortunately, oh, that's really bad for them, hilariously. Well, 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 well. So I think we trash the Muse here, because this Vasalem does absolutely nothing. Right? They can't move it anywhere. Unless they're on... Joyride. Not Joyride, the other one. We all know what I mean. I think. I hope we all know what I mean. Okay, second Stegodon. So we can score this. We then probably have to jam the NGO front. Otherwise, there is no chance we're coming back from the depths of money. Unfortunately, it's going to be so bitterly obvious that it is an NGO front. Score. Score. Okay. So we could install advance, take a credit, just so that we're threatening. Thank goodness it's not Stegodon. It might be next turn. Or we advance. No, then we're still short one. I think we just advance once. You could NGO, advance, pop, jam. Yeah. Like, if we get Bernard right now, I'm going to advance and just take a credit. No worries. I will. That's such a greedy mole. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I've not been punished yet, so we shall see. Um, but yeah, you can let me know how badly I played it. Oh, we can't quite res this Cloud Eater. They could also just bypass it with this, so we just have to let them in here. Hopefully, they don't steal two agendas. Luckily, the next ones that we want to score are in hand. Hey, Anarcho. Oh, now we've got to pay money as well. Thank you very much. It was a very fun event. Um, I don't think we can pay money here, so we just have to say we have to let them see free, which is terrifying. Yeah, it was a great event. It was very very fun. Um, and it seems to have had pretty decent feedback. So I'm very happy with that. I assume they now like run the remote, which would be good because it means that they're going to waste this like symbol chip. They see free and they miss. Excellent. I'm really glad we didn't jam the Stegodon. Getting a Muse with a propeller on it. Hey, David. It goes pretty well. Oh no, with the SMC. Okay, so they can then pop and get the environmental testing. Seems pretty good. We're playing a Thunderbolt deck that Ace Empress took to the Southwest Regionals on the weekend. I have already made one change. Ooh, they're on Pressure Spike. This is going to be. I was going to say it's going to be expensive, but that environmental testing popping off feels kind of good for them. Still quite expensive, and this is going to be a painful. Oh dear, it's an NGO. Oh, you need to encounter. Sorry. Haha! Okay, I'm quite glad with my single advanced play, as it definitely forced a run, which otherwise might not have happened. So, we could click up. That's interesting. Whenever you res a piece of ice during a run against a server, you may de-res another installed piece of ice. If you do, the resed ice gets +3 strength for the remainder of the run. I think I just put that. The problem is I really want a Trank Grid in here. I need to take 2 credits, and I need to jam something in this remote. So I think it's credit, credit, jam. Because this might force like them to go check it, and if not, they might run R&D, and we now have 10 credits to res a big old snake. Which unfortunately feels like it's not going to do a huge. Like, we don't really care about the net damage. We don't really care about the tags. I guess for like when the encounter ends. Means that it is like if they can't break it, it's pretty brutal. Okay, Spin Doctor seems good. We could res this tier, but it won't do you anything. What was the Lycean? I swapped for a second Tithe. I think we're just going to spin for options as much as I'd love to put spin in the remote to force a run. Okay, other spin in the remote to force a run. Maybe we just go Stego. I guess putting the magnet there would have made sense. Especially as I can't really de-res like I do not have the money to do res stuff. That's for sure. Okay, Turbine. Was Magnet better than Cred? Maybe, but it doesn't look like they're going to run it. They are going to run it. Okay, fine. Fine. But now they're surely poor. They have to break both now. So now we go like Magnet, Stego, Credit. Oh, that's even better. And this is server 1. And the Magnet. Like, we could try and put the tier, but we're just never going to be able to res that tier, are we? Never in a million years. Never in a million tears. Okay, so we bled one Stegodon, but that's fine. We're going to score this Stegodon. Then we have a Stegodon. Which I still don't quite know exactly what we do with. We then basically need to find some bloops and some of the resi D-res code gates, which actually would be making us money right now if they were running through them. Magna also feels pretty decent here considering they have Fasalem. Being able to D-res Magnet feels even better. This lets you get yeah, we can D-res. I don't know if it's ever worth it because it's going to be so expensive to do that. Install a clock. Oh, just to pop off the environmental testing. Fair. I assume there's an ASOPs in here somewhere. Okay. We got a Seamless. It's a card. Any minute now. Yeah, there we go. Now, unfortunately, like making our Cloud Eater 8 strength or whatever it is that this Stegodon will do to it, not very good when they're on for Salem. I feel like that might be the biggest issue that that Thunderbolt's dealing with right now. Is it's all about like big, scary sentries. And it came out in the same set as the best tool which we've ever had to deal with big, scary sentries. Like, this is better than David, because this just hangs around until you get rid of it. Like, you've got to purge to get rid of it. And no one's got time to purge right now. Whereas David, you used it once or twice and you're done. Sometimes just once. Better than David is a bold claim. I'm claiming it. I'm saying David was like 4 credits to install as well, right? It was either 3 or 4. For Salem is 0. And it bypasses the ice. It doesn't just break the ice, it bypasses the ice. So with the one exception of a Nancy, it's better than David. And even then, it's still pretty good. I feel like third Tithe might be worth a slot. Yeah, maybe. Certainly, like, if we want to score a Stegodon and we want something good to res and de-res, a Tithe does seem like the best thing. Now, I might shuffle back to hedge funds here. I just need money. I could talk about Woo in a second, Centling. Is it the hedge fund and the NGO front, so I've got something to jam? Or is it just the hedge funds? I think it's just the hedge funds for right now. Remind me, yeah, when this game finishes, let's talk about Woo. We have 2 seamless launches. That could be good. I am short of money. Architect is great apart from the fact that the best thing for our architect is in our hand, if we put another Hagen, we're not at threat 4. We can't Stegodon. We haven't got. We need them to run like somewhere else. So Stegodon is like useless right now. They could. No, it's not. We're on 3 copies of Bloop, Dad. I think Bloop is probably the best thing in this deck, and probably what makes it like mean. I think we just have to install this architect deployment test and take a credit. Like, we could put a second Hagen, but is it really that good? Like, the Hagen will be 5, it'll be 6 strength. Unless they install another breaker, in which case it'll be 5 strength, which would be 1 boost. No, it's 1 boost either way. So it's like 4 credits to break the Hagen, whatever happens. I don't think we can afford to res both, so we're just gonna click for a credit. I guess like with double seamless, maybe we could. Maybe we should just believe in ourselves and put the sodding tier there. I almost think that the Rosetta deck that was played out of Isla could be popped into Wu nicely. Oh, totally. Like you, if you put it into Wu, the one thing it like, I mean, okay. So yes, there is an issue with that, right? Your issue is that you still need to find the Rosetta, because actually you've got 6 copies of the. Oh, we're gonna get this off. You've got 6 copies of the programs which you start wheeling shit out with. Do we need to Hand's Eye first and then double seamless? I think we do. I think I'm going to Hand's Eye and then double seamless, and we can get rid of this Hagen. Yeah, so you've actually, it's like finding the programs to 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 Rosetta away is not the hard bit. They are the like easy thing to find. Okay, what have we got? We've got a ganked. We could res the ganked on R&D. It's actually one of the best things we can do right here, because our other options are put a Tranquility home grid in server 1, which trashes the thing. We can res a wave, which is crap. I guess if they put down an Eru and they run archives and they just trash the ganked and the Cloud Eater isn't resed, then that's going to hurt. But we know that the top of R&D is safe right now. Otherwise, we put a ganked in the server. I think we put a ganked on R&D, although like massively, it's like the biggest sodding red flag in the world, and it is now. You found my trap card. Yeah. Double Cloud Eater since yeah, I mean, so if they run R&D, then it's really good for us. We're going to res the Cloud Eater. It's going to be really disgusting, and then they're obviously going to jack out on that turn because really, really obviously. However, if they put down an Eru and run R&D, then the ganked is doing nothing. We're going to let them trash this. Do we de-res this Hagen? I think we might. No, definitely not. What am I thinking? I still don't know how Stegodon really works. I mean, I do, but no pop. I think you play. Yeah, there we go. So the era comes down, and now they just trash this ganked, and we can't res this Cloud Eater. No, thank you. We can always choose to de-res it in the future run. Yeah, exactly. I have a suspicion that Wu would be incredibly powerful. Oh, we didn't need to pay there, actually. We know the top four, and we know none of them are agendas. Yeah, Wu would actually be very, very good right now with the combination of um, Muse and Coalescence. Like, yeah, it's probably great. But I would be interested to try and build a Wu deck and see how it looks. Oh, they didn't trash this. Oh, they couldn't trash it. Oh, that's spicy. Okay, getting the Coalescence back. They have not found an Aesops. They are down to 12 cards, and I assume there's an Aesops in here somewhere. This very much looks like an Aesops deck, right? Maybe it's just spec work, actually. So, now we have nothing good coming up, and they know we have nothing good coming up. So how on earth do we do this? Do we have to put this tier on archives for them just to stick a frickin' Phasalem on it? Maybe. I can't remember what we're going to draw into. We could play this for money. We could put this on archives. That's going to shuffle the deck. How many do they see at the moment? They see like 5 cards, right? I think I have to put the tier on archives, and it's going to cost them 4 credits to break it, to bypass it even, which is so painfully sad. Yeah, spec work, like you just click Coalescence, it comes in for 1 credit. If you've got DTMZ, it comes in for nothing. I can't put this on archives, can I? I'm gonna put the wave on archives because I want to get a bloop in my hand. And we don't know the top of R&D anymore anyway. Yeah, you just pull down a Coalescence with Woo, cost you a credit, maybe cost you nothing. Spec work it away. That's like instant money. Later you can like muse it back out, or you can muse a Phasalem. Like the fact that you can now tutor viruses with Woo using Muse, like it's a bit jankier, but that was, that was the one thing that balanced her before, was that she couldn't tutor viruses. Muse gives you a way of doing that. She was banned for World Tree since, but if World Tree gone, I think the Muse Coalescent Aesops Ashen, yeah, maybe even with Ashen to just go through it all again, like very possibly, because like Wu is potentially the best thing to like Ashen in if you're like putting your whole deck back in. Um, like then being able to fetch it all back out again seems like quite good. If Salem's coming down, it's coming down here. We're still going to res it, right? Yeah, we are. We might then have to purge next turn. We're going to be a credit short of playing this Hand's Eye. So we either like credit Hand's Eye Psych Mike. Looks like we are running. Okay, well, this is kind of good. We don't want to de-res another piece of ice because for Solemn. If we had this magnet could do something. We will res this. Oh, this is actually quite good. This is their last click. They can't take the free, like, after this has done its stuff, they can't take the free damage because they will die. They can't continue to access. Oh, they could continue to access. They'll have enough credits to. No, they can't continue to access, I don't think. Like, they're going to have to take some tags. Unfortunately for us to, like, really capitalize on that, we're going to have to go credit, Hand's Eye Review, and then trash something. I don't quite know what we trash. They do have to pay an extra credit for the Vasalem because we are. Continue. Wait, did it do its thing? Because this. Oh no. All right. You never encountered it, right? Encounter ends, doesn't fire due to bypass. Yeah. Yeah. Balls. Well, this is what I was saying. This is why this is why you can't play Thunderball. And I don't want to say that because I don't want to be that person. But equally, don't make. For Salem says when you encounter. Yeah, but I think it's the. I don't know. I'll ask the. Yeah, Anansi's different. Anansi doesn't. What does Anansi say? Whenever an encounter with Anansi ends. Whenever an encounter with this ice ends. Oh, maybe. I think Cloud Eater's text should still fire, as it is written the same as Nancy's. Two tags? Sure. I mean, I don't think they can let me trash a thing. I guess if we trash the Phasalem, then they can just bring it back. But then they have to encounter it again once they hit this ganked. Luckily, they haven't seen any cards on R&D here. Yeah, I think two tags is the only thing you can do here. Yeah. Seems like the right choice. I cannot afford to pay a credit to the side game. So they're going to see some cards. They're going to get money off Psych Mike. That seems pretty good. I don't think it's worth us purging. We are getting away with this. Are they not seeing it? They have not seen. Oh no, it hasn't. They haven't seen any yet. Okay. Okay, we've lost one. We've lost two. Trash ganked? Yes, please. Okay. Are we trashing any of their stuff? We can do credit, hand's eye, and then we can trash one thing if that's worth it. Cool. Trash Mary. Yeah, Mary does feel probably the most correct thing to trash here. Like, that's how we're going to lose. So we go credit. We can hand's eye one of these tranquility grids, because they don't seem necessary, and then we'll trash the Mary. I mean, they now don't have to worry about clearing the Eru tag if they run with Eru, so that's something. If they'd hit, oh, they do still have a symbol chip. I was going to say, if they hit the one Mavirus when they were making that run, that would have been great for us. Okay, we could. Oh no, they're wrong clot. Okay, so we can't win with biotic labor. Not to worry. Echelon. Okay, fine. Do we purge? Tithe. Tithe's quite good. We might just do tithe. Purging seems quite bad. We can't get this echelon down to the point where they'd actually need to boost it, can we? No. Unless I really want this Brasilia grid on R&D now, then like the tithe would be great. Well, it wouldn't actually be that great. Brasilia grid here does feel quite bad, but is maybe the only way that we get out of this. I don't know. Let's draw one. We'll see what we get. Ooh. Okay. I mean that's potentially good. So we could put that on R&D. It looks like a ganked. Or we could put it on server 1. I think we just have to protect R&D like the best that we can here. So I think this goes like R&D, and then we go maybe. I mean, the other thing we could do is trash the Eru, which might be correct. I think it is correct. I would assume there's no way of recurring these. If there turns out to be like one Harmony AR, I'll be upset. Unfortunately, we're now like putting ourselves in a really bad money space. I was going to say we might have to purge. I guess we've got this Mavirus, but we will need to draw some money to do that. Have we seen a DJ yet? There must be influence for a DJ here, and our HQ is completely open right now. Let's do a quick influence check. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that all we've seen? Yeah, so we could definitely fit DJ in here. That's going to be a problem. Oh, Rashida's good. I think we might go like Rashida in server 1. We're going to put this tithe on HQ just so that we're not giving away totally free. How many chips in the bin? I think 2. Oh no, there's one more chip as well. Whenever you like. There's probably also a Muse still. Yeah, there's still like one Muse somewhere. We're gaining credit. If we can force out this chip though, then we might be able to fast advance out. Assuming we also draw into an agenda before they like lock us out of agendas. They have one more Muse, one more chip. If they're playing. Oh no, there's two chips in the bin. So this is the last Simmel chip in the deck. Unless they get a DJ down. I guess they can't stick a DJ. Like, we just trash it. They're on 4 tags. There's no misdirection. So maybe we don't have to worry about DJ. Oh, they're pinholing us. Oh, fun. Okay. Do we want to de-res anything else? No. But we do want to res this Tithe and get a bloop, I think. I still don't know what Brasilia does properly. We're going to res this wave. And then we'll search for a bloop. Because we can afford to res it. Unfortunately, they've called our Rashida shot pretty well. Ooh, we get our money. I'll take the money. I'm now really glad that we didn't spunk our tier on archives, considering that we've managed to get rid of the Eru. That would have felt quite bad. Not getting off this Rashida also feels quite bad. See, I think we have to put the Trank grid in there. Unfortunately, it's going to be really obvious that we're putting the Trank grid in there because we're going to have to delete the Brasilia grid. Oh, they're checking archives. Do we want to de-res anything? No. Like, this is a problem. These tags don't mean enough right now. I don't know if the Cloud Eater's correct. I think Boto might be the better option. Maybe. Like, Boto at least doesn't get Fasalumed. Ooh, they break it this time. I guess they potentially needed to save money to challenge this remote if that turned out to be an agenda. Okay, hedge fund is really good. Where are we putting this bloop? Because it's either going... Oh, if we can... I've just realised that we've got a magnet there. We're going to do this. We're going to put this in the remote, which unfortunately is like really super obvious what it is. And then are we going bloop on R&D or are we going bloop on here? We could go tier. We can't afford to res it though. I think we go bloop R&D. Could be wrong. It doesn't feel too bad, Thanos, because it's gonna... Well, okay. So the reason it doesn't feel too bad is that A is gonna come in at 6 strength. Oh, they're checking this one as well. Do we want to de-res? No. It's going to come in at 6 strength, so they're going to have to boost once. So that's good. And then we do have a Stegodon scored. So we can actually make it very expensive. And Echelon boosts very badly. So the bloop's actually going to feel like okay. see if they trash this Trank Grid. Yeah, they don't. Okay, that's 2 pinholes down. So now that's 2 more influence. Well, we're trashing that. Although, what are they selling at this point? They've got enough stuff to sell. Okay, we could jam this. It's behind a magnet and a Hagen, which are both quite easy to break. We're going to draw once. That feels very mean. I'm going to res. It unfortunately does very little here, but it will hopefully pull them through. And all I want to do is res this magnet, essentially. So we put that in server 1, gaining 2. And then we're going to trash this Aesops, because we can't let them have an Aesops. Also, they are on Aesops. So very potentially all 3 Aesops were in like the last 5 cards of deck, which feels pretty bad. There's another Mary! That's rude. Okay. So here, I think we de-res this and we res the bloop. And then we'll... Oh no, sorry. Could you make that run again? I realized an error. I realized a big issue with my plan here. If I de-res of the wave, I can no longer res the bloop. So here we're going to res the bloop. We'll de-res this wave. We now have like so little ice actually resed. But hopefully this is good enough. Like they have to boost twice, or they have to like move this for Salem. The Stegodon ability still fires because Bloop does the D-res. Oh, so I didn't need to D-res the Hagen? Are you joking? Whenever... What does this say? Each run, as long as a piece of ice has been D-res during that run. Fuck! I didn't need to D-res the Hagen. Well, that's painful. Okay, they're moving the Salem, which makes sense. It got me 1 credit. Great. that doesn't feel very good. Considering it's that doesn't feel very good. Gaining 1 credit. I assume they're jacking out here. They don't have any nonsense way of getting through here, right? Oh, I had him a virus. Oh, balls. I had him a virus. When they reset the Salem, I could have rezzed and popped them a virus, and I missed that window. Do I win then? I trashed 2 programs. Okay, so now we either res the Hagen, which they'll have to break twice. Oh, this is a new run, so their stuff is back to strength. Or we res the magnet, sucking up this for Salem. I think we res the magnet. Unfortunately, the ganked is pretty bad here. Maybe the Hagen was the better option. I do have a Mavirus to like deal with this Vasalem that I've just remembered about. So the Hagen, it would have come in at like 3. It would have been pretty bad. No, you can trash that if you want. Oh, it's like cost them 3 credits to trash. Maybe that's fine. Okay, can we jam this off-world? No, don't be silly. R&D feels pretty safe though. So there's that. Oh, they trashed the Trank. That's a problem. Oh, we get to res a Tithe. I'll res a Tithe. Unfortunately, it's a 1 in 3 here. I definitely feel like basically this should just be a how quickly can we get 3 bloops on the board. Oh, we get to fire. Cool. What did they trash? They trashed the Muse. Fine. Don't hit the off-world. Ah, damn it. Thunderbolt nearly did a thing. Fortunately, I forgot about the virus. Oh, they've gone in. How fast can I get 3 bloops out? It's probably how Thunderbolt wins. Okay, JNet is still pretty grindy tonight. Still pretty slow. We were going to talk about Woo quickly. I'm basically going to theorycraft Woo for the next like 20 minutes. I reckon in Netrunner DB because I talked about doing it last week and I didn't, and I feel like now is the time to do it. So if we were going to build Woo right now, how would it look? Oh, I can't select it because it's not legal. Okay, I like the idea of playing like free spec works. It's definitely going to be on free coalescence. It's definitely going to be on free muse because that seems silly. And then the question is, what do we do after this? Is it secretly a UAV deck? It might be because it can like muse out. Oh, hey Fix, no problem. Thank you for coming. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you at an event. Um, so what does it look like after this? We're doing this as if World Tree has been banned, by the way. So let's assume that World Tree is not legal. We've got Muse, so we should play at least a copy of Fasalem. And then maybe Woo does like maybe Woo plays ironically more Trojans than Arisana plays right now because she can fetch them at any point. Like I feel like Woo plus Slap Vandal is like an awesome option, right? You get this, it comes in for free. You go and break a piece of ice. Don't know, David. Lots of people are talking about it. Do we put I want to try and do this also without putting self-modifying code in. And we'll see how far we get with that. Yeah, don't know for sure if World Tree is up for ban, but let's say World Tree was banned. If World Tree was banned, maybe you could bring Cabinets of Wu back. Probably not, but we're gonna find that out. I think you can definitely play like Trick Shot. It would just be silly not to. And then like Wu plus Trick Shot, she really likes Mayfly. Um, like we might play like it might be like an Eka. Eka's really good when you can just pull it at any point using the Muse and then not actually not having the Eka RFG'd. Like the really cool thing here. Oh yeah, environmental testing seems like a slam dunk. Single chip definitely. I've just realised that the really cool thing here is that we Cabinets of Wu, we woo out a Muse, right? And then if it's getting a daemon, so if it's not getting a card that's going to be hosted on it, it gets a daemon. You can use the daemon install to trash the Muse, so it goes into the bin, so that it's not removed from the game. Right? Because you're installing a program so you can trash a program because you're overwriting it, even though it's in like a completely different place. Which probably feels pretty cool, which means that we've then got 3 muses in the bin so we could like compile to get them back. So maybe we play like a Hush as well. And a Kayaban. Because these are all very good things that we can like muse for. You can do that with any install. Yeah, I think so. Did I not say Trojan? I did mean Trojan. If I said something else, what did I say? Did I say like virus or something? So we probably need a slightly more defined breaking rig than this. Is it going to be the boring one? I don't want it to be the boring one. I feel like Propeller is a pretty amazing card in Wu. That's something that, again, you just pull for free and then you overwrite it or you do something with it. Spec work it preferably. Are we going to be on Aesops? I think we are still going to be on Aesops. It doesn't make sense to not be. This feels like it's a deck which is going to want a fair amount of memory, but that might just be like Lilypad is probably the correct thing here. We just play like 3 Lilypad so that we draw it early. 1 copy of Mayfly seems like really nice. Like this feels. I don't know if this is what you'd do with Wu if you actually did it. You'd probably just play 3 self-modifying codes and be boring as hell. But we might want a DZMZ fix, very possibly. But this feels like the kind of deck which Wu was meant to be, right? Like so far, we've got no programs which are like really hanging around, like the Eka, I guess is. But all of this is just stuff which we're gonna like bring out, use, trash, spec work it away, which feels like pretty cool, really. Do we want? I think we might want some number of UAV, maybe even just 1 to like move around things like the Slap Vandal, the Kayaban, even the Eka. I'm gonna put in like I'd probably play 1 and see if we needed it. We definitely need like an actual breaking solution, like a longer scale one, which might be I mean, we've got a ton of influence at the moment, so it might be everyone's favorite breaking solution of like all the good stuff in Turbine. But it might not be. Like Echelon feels pretty good here because we've got enough breakers. Let's put some like actual money in and draw. Sure Gamble, Diesel, probably Creative Commissions. We're up to 41 cards. We've got 11 influence to play with. Rejig would be sick, actually. but then we're really tight on like money wise. But it would be so good. Can we just like propeller through everything? Can we propeller through everything? Yeah, WinCon is a potential issue here. Um, WinCon is a potential issue. Compiles, we can't play compiles as well. Compile would be very very fun, especially when we've got like muses in our deck. But I think is probably incorrect. What's our WinCon going to be? And also, what are we going to do with 11 influence? Like, is this how good Shaper cards are right now? You just don't need to play anything else. Cup does seem fun. Cup seems like that's a really good woo card, right? Like you woo that out at any point, comes in for 0, draws you a card with lily pad. You go and fetch something, you go and see 3 cards from HQ. Yeah, Cup seems like a bit too good to not play it. To Propeller, if we have 2 Turbine, or do we just play 2 Propeller? Can we just keep... Could we, maybe if we're on, maybe if we're on... Not Turbine, but the other one, we might be able to play Propeller. Or I guess probably not. So Propeller... hey, Matt. First time catch a stream. Would District 99 be useful here to pull stuff out with all the programs? District 99 is super cool. But it probably is very slow. I like where you're thinking though, because that's kind of exactly what you want with this kind of a thing. I really like the rejig call. Matt, I don't know if you saw... Well, I'm not going to be able to find it because it's going to be so far down. But a while back I was playing an Arasana deck. It was a World Tree deck. This was it. Here we go. It was this World Tree deck which basically went kind of infinite with District 99 because every turn you could like pull a muse back from hand or from a bin with District 99, install it, installing a coalescence, selling them with Aesops. And that would give you like 2 counters, and so you basically kind of almost had this infinite loop of being able to constantly Aesop stuff. Feel like Aesops might not be needed. Yeah, it might not, but then the coalescences feel like quite bad. Other than like just rejigging and spec working them, like maybe not. I mean, like Jeff wouldn't play him, right? D99 probably is a trap in a deck like this because it would just be a bit too slow. But I mean, it's also been an issue in the past District 99 because you could only recur Shaper cards, and Shaper had all the bad cards. Like you're like, oh, I can recur like a Simmel chip, which is good in some matchups, but generally, like there weren't very many power cards. Like all of the power cards in Shaper were stuff which was installed anyway. But now you're like, well, pulling a burner back to hand with a D99 or a trick shot or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Like if you've got like infinite trick shots, that's like pretty mean. The Aesops might not be needed. Do we have any way of breaking? We do need like a decoder of some kind. It's probably just Unity, right? I think it's just Unity. But then, like again, we've still got a ton of influence. What are we spending this influence on? Like more entanglers, maybe? Might just be more entanglers. This is a ridiculous card. We could definitely. Like I feel definitely with like the rejigs, the Aesops might be not as useful. Like the really cool kind of thing with rejig is it doesn't is it can be anything. So you can pull a coalescence from your deck with Woo, take the money off it, rejig it into a lily pad, or like or one of the other cards. Like it's definitely cool. I just think spec work like ideally this wants like a chop bot or something, you know, like just to get more draw rather than just money. In order to pull back a burner, you need to put it in the list in the first place. Yeah. I mean we're working on like we so far don't really have any sort of pressure tools or a win con or a way of breaking Kogates. Can we do like a recursion? Is this like a no, it can't be. I was gonna say, do we play Umbrella? I don't think we do. We surely don't. Uh, you know what else is a cool woo card if you think about it? Like Pikachu. Pikachu is a really cool woo card because you woo this down on a piece of ice you can break or like they can't res. You run twice, picking it back up. Yeah, I won't mention the umbrella again. It's probably not right. Um, like there's a lot of cards which are pretty cool in Woo right now. I don't know how this deck wins or breaks code gates. Let's just like stick a Unity in it before I forget to do that. Um, okay. So if we dropped the Aesops, we maybe just drop like, or we play like one, like that gets us some slots back. We still have a ton of influence to play with, and need a win con. Is like we can't play the twinning. We haven't got good enough options for twinning. Revolver is cool. We already have Eka. Trick shot and cups are win cons. They are. Maybe we play like Niashia. Um, we also probably need more draw. As much as like we can kind of pull half of our deck, but if we don't find our lily pad, then we're like in trouble, and we need to draw into. I was going to say we need to draw into money, but we can just magic money out of the air with coalescence, which is kind of hilarious. What's like the best way we can spend 9 influence? We could take the hush out and play like 2 diversion of funds. No one will see that coming. And you can like always land the diversion of funds by pulling a Mayfly first. Might be able to cut the gambles. Yeah, very possibly. It's definitely not a It's definitely an option. Miss Bones does seem correct. We still have 5. We could just be like how do you best spend like 5 influence or like it probably needs to be a program. Is there like any like massively good programs that we can pull? I don't think so. Or not that I can think of. Um, we have a breaker for everything. Not necessarily. We need at least a turbine. Finality is actually like quite a cool. Like, just we're gonna do stuff and then finality. Iru. Uh, yeah, I think Iru's probably only worth it if we're playing other things which generate like additional accesses. I think finality is quite cool because like we're definitely the kind of deck which is just gonna. But then why aren't we just playing Maker's Eye? We should probably just play Maker's Eye, which is the sad case. We probably want a DJ. Like that gives us a bit more reach. We were to we can so we can play Turbine. We could also, because we've got the whole like Muse thing going on. We could play Monkey Wrench, Imp or Clot. Imp's cool. Ashen is a possibility, but I don't feel like we've got anywhere near enough draw for Ashen. Like we'd want to be on. We'd want to be on like a ton more draw to be able to like get to the end of our deck. I think. Botulus? Botulus is interesting. It's getting close to the point where we want to play Spree, right? Like as a one-off. Okay, so the spec works seem really, really good. They're definitely staying. Potentially drop the gambles feels a bit risky. Like we could probably like drop the Kaya ban is like okay, but it's probably the least relevant. Botulus is cool. You do need DTMZ or something. I don't know if we do. Like the whole rig is very flexible at the moment. I want to play a second propeller so that we've always got this chance of like DJing for two propellers. But then we probably also want to play like a turbine. Just so that we're not like breaking magnets for multiple credits with our Unity and things like that. So then we'll be at quite a few cards. One DZMZ means you get Coles and Muse for free on WooClick. Yeah, it is kind of a money card. It is kind of a money card. Okay, I will play one DZMZ. I still think that like free lily pads is probably correct. And then I also want to play 3 copies of Nuka. Or at least 2 copies of Nuka. I think we need at least 2 copies of Nuka. Right. This is our cards. Now we need to cut like 6. I think we can cut this Kaiban. We also don't have a great Wincon here. Kind of want to cut the rejigs, but I also kind of want to keep the rejigs. Are the rejigs better than the gambles? They kind of are, right? Because you can always get a coalescence. So at the very least, a rejig is a gamble. Correct? Or not? Like if at any point you can pull a coalescence from deck. Then a rejig is better than a gamble. Because at any point, the very least that you can do with a rejig is pull a coalescence, take the money off it, rejig it, and take the money off it again. Which means that like realistically we should play 3 rejigs. Right? Plus our rig likes rejigs. That would be another reason to play Imp actually. Maybe we're like rejig deck. So cards that are definitely sticking around. I'm going to take out the gambles because rejig is our gamble. The rest of these events seem correct. The environmental testing seem like buck wild. We can fire them off really quickly. The urban art we could lose. At the moment, it's moving just for Slap Vandal and the Eker. Yeah, that can go. That's 47. Single Aesops feels probably incorrect. If we're playing like 1 copy of Aesops, that can't be correct, right? So like maybe single Aesop's goes. We have 4 influence, which means that we could play a second for Salem, which seems like pretty wild. And then we have Ika. We don't have a better. We don't have a more permanent way of breaking. Whatchamacallits. Sentries. But maybe is Ika fine? Or maybe we play like 2 Ika? Nah, that's getting like a bit much, isn't it then? Hush seems really good. Hush does seem really good. Like the other card, we could play a Chisel. We can like pull this at any point by pulling a Muse. That could be rude. Or we try and get more draw in here and play some Ashens. It's like we could get very much locked out by like Ashening a Propeller that's in the bin. Maybe like just DJ Fenris is like okay. Or we play like 2 Laborites. We just keep trick shotting at the end of the deck. Anyway, that's like pretty close. Like we could drop 1 Propeller. This feels like it. I'd feel comfortable that I could probably get into any server at most points with this. So yeah, you could definitely like. That doesn't feel like it's gonna break at any metas open, but that's a first pass, and it's not including self-modifying code, which is notable. It probably should be. But then it's like you're not. What are you getting? Like, are you just self-modifying code out self-mod? Are you just SMCing out like fermenters again? Like that was a technique. Wasn't too bad. What is a win con now? Yeah, that's it. We don't really have a win con. I think we have to drop the DZMZ and put in like a. It probably wants to be like a cataloger, although I would like something that we could pull. Is this superior to Ari versions? That is the really good question. It probably plays a little differently to them. I would imagine it probably makes less runs than Ari, or has to make less runs, which is probably like bad for the game. You know, like what have you. I haven't built like a 45 card standard Arasana for a long time, so that's like a really interesting question because I really don't know. I really don't know. Like, I don't even really know what 45 card Arasana looks like right now. The ability to like to genuinely get exactly what you need at any one point, and that being more relevant than ever with cards like Cupellation and Fasalem feels quite powerful here. But then with just enough draw, Arasana can kind of do that anyway. I don't know. I'm gonna like leave that. I'm gonna save that as a like first pass. No world tree woo. Take number 1. And I'll probably look at it like through the week and see if I can make it better. Because it's definitely like missing a win con right now. And I think the thing to do with like the fact that you're woo and you can just run whenever you kind of want to at the moment would be to have like lots of powerful events and just try and win off very, very early pressure. And this doesn't feel like it's going to do that. So it probably needs like a bit of a revamp. But there's definitely like, that definitely looks fun. That also looks like fun woo. which is not something which we've had for quite a while. Um, any more thoughts on the Thunderbolt you played? Think it's really bad while Fasalem is around, is the only thing I unfortunately have to say about it. Like, that deck, if we were playing against anyone which didn't have a Fasalem, I'd have felt much, much better about our chances because our ice does stuff, like really big stuff. And breaking it even with good breakers is going to be hard. But Fasalem just shuts down so much of that. So like maybe the deck only works if you're like on free Mavirus and can always threaten a like Mavirus res or something along those lines. Um, but yeah, it felt very rough playing into a deck which had Fasalem. I suspected it has Fasalem. It turned out it had Fasalem. It just it just deals with too much of our nonsense too efficiently. Uh, give me back Typhonium. Give me 3 Typhoniums in that deck. Then we're talking. Then we're talking. And yeah, if there were more like nasty barriers, like I think like maybe Botu might be the way to go. It's expensive to res normally, and it's like pretty impactful. Like I think like that's not what I might look at building for Thunderbolt myself, just so that I'm not like whinging about one card constantly. Um, and because of that, so yeah, and to round off my thoughts, because of that, the ganks didn't feel very good. You know, when you're like, I've got a ganked on this server, and I'm gonna res a tier, and it costs them 3 credits to bypass the tier, and then 3 credits again. Like that should be like ruinous game. Like the runner does that and is like, well, I am like destroyed, and it should be like it costs you like 10 credits to res that ice. You had to get a ganked behind it, all of that. But yeah, I think I think put 3 viruses in your Thunderbolt and see how things go from there. Maybe. Right. With that, I'm off to bed. Thank you everyone who came to Southwest Regionals on Saturday. Get your tickets for Southeast Regionals, which are in about a month because they're selling out. And I'll see you next week. Ciao for now.